Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where in the world you're joining from. I'm Jason Fitzgerald, product manager here at Blustream in the US. And I want to thank you for carving out a bit of time in your day to be with us. And this is going to be the first of two sessions where we'll explore the powerful world of audio matrix solutions. Now, before we dive in, just a quick bit of housekeeping. Your microphones are muted during the presentation, and this simply means that we won't hear any background noise from your end, so no worries if the dog barks or the coffee machine kicks in. And if you have any questions, and we hope that you do, go ahead and use the chat or Q&A panel in the Teams interface. We'll go ahead and try to answer those as we get through them, but if not, we'll circle back around to those questions at the end. So all right, let's go ahead and jump in and get started. Today, we're going to take a close look at the DMP168, which was released earlier this year. Now, let's clear something up right away. This isn't a Dante or networked audio matrix. Instead, it's a fixed I/O analog audio matrix that's built for high-performance audio routing in homes and select commercial environments where simple local audio distribution is key. So over the next few slides, I'll walk you through a quick tour of what the DMP168 is and where it fits in your installs. We'll take a look at a common light commercial use case near the end of this. And of course, this will work for multi-zone home AV systems all the way to boutique hospitality installs. And we'll also look at the core interface pages, including how to configure inputs, create zone presets, and manage audio across the 16 inputs and 8 outputs with the built-in DSP tools. So whether you're designing a high-end smart home or tackling a small business audio layout, the DMP168 offers the kind of reliable, no-fuss control that makes your life, and more importantly, your client's life, a lot easier. So let's kick things off with an introduction to the DMP168. So this is a 16x8 digital audio matrix, which simply means it can take up to 16 audio sources and route them to 8 different zones all independently. Perfect for multi-room or multi-zone environments where flexibility is key. So what makes it versatile is its support for both analog and digital sources, and that means you can connect everything from a traditional CD player to a streaming device or television output all in the same system. So the flexibility makes it great, not just for commercial projects, but also for residential installs and hospitality spaces like hotels or restaurants. Each input and output has its own set of controls, so you're not locked into one global adjustment. You can manage the volume and balance, and that's to level match different rooms or sources. You've got EQ for fine-tuning the sound to suit the acoustics of each space. And we've got lip sync delay, which is essential when pairing audio with video so dialogue matches on screen. And then, of course, we got stereo to mono conversion, which is ideal for paging systems or single speaker zones. In short, the DMP168 was designed to be cost-effective, powerful, and scalable, giving integrators the tools to deliver clean, consistent audio across projects with mixed source types. Here, we're looking at the inputs of the DMP168. So this unit gives you a total of 16 stereo audio inputs. So that's 16 separate sources you can plug in, like a Blu-ray player, media streamer, CD player, or even a turntable with the right preamp, of course. And on the left side, you'll see 8 analog inputs. So these are your traditional left-right audio connections, the kind that we're all been using for decades at this point. On the right side, there are 4 coaxial digital and 4 optical digital inputs. Both of these are digital audio connections, and of course, the coaxial uses a stereo RCA type, while the optical uses fiber optics to send that signal as light, reducing things like electrical interference. Each input isn't just plug and play. You also get powerful tools to tailor the sound. Volume and balance control, so you can match levels between different sources. Custom EQ settings, right? So that's equalization to let you adjust specific frequency ranges, for example. High and low shelf filters allow you to boost or cut treble and bass, while the high pass and low pass filters help remove unwanted rumble or hiss. We've got volume limiting, so even if someone cranks the knob, you won't overload your system or your client's speakers. And then with the mono source support, which is ideal when you need to take a stereo source and sum it into a single channel feed. The bottom line is every input on the DMP168 gives you precision control and flexibility, making it just as at home in a high-end residential theater as it is in a boutique retail or hospitality install. And here we're looking at the outputs on the DMP168. So this processor gives you 8 independent analog stereo outputs. Think of them as 8 unique audio lanes that you can route to different rooms or zones. Each output has its own EQ, which means you can fine-tune the sound in each area independently. For example, you might boost bass in a media room, but keep it flat in a dining area. Outputs can be set to stereo left-right, or mono, single channel, or even a mix of both depending on your system's needs. This flexibility is especially useful when combining background music with paging systems or syncing audio across multiple rooms. And here's a standout feature. Using the built-in DSP, the DMP168 can create up to 4 2.1 outputs. So that's stereo left and right channels paired with a dedicated subwoofer channel for that deeper low end. Perfect for media rooms or spaces where music playback needs a bit more punch. Altogether, these features make the DMP168 a powerful tool for managing sound across complex environments. So whether you're distributing background music in a home, paging across a retail floor, or delivering synchronized audio in a larger resi system. Next up, let's talk about control, because what's the point of a powerful audio distribution system if it isn't easy to manage? So the DMP168 gives you several ways to take command, so whether you're setting it up, automating it, or handling control over to a third-party system. We've got IP control, and this means you can connect the unit to your network and access it from any device with a browser. The built-in web UI lets you configure settings in real time. Plus, it supports industry standard protocols, so it can easily integrate with control systems like Crestron or Control4. Then we've got RS-232, which of course is the tried and true serial communication method. It's been around for whatever, ever. And it's especially useful if you're working with legacy control systems or when you need a direct, reliable connection without going through a network. We've also got trigger inputs. So these are simple voltage connections that can activate presets or automate functions. So for example, you could program a trigger so that when a projector turns on, the DMP168 automatically switches to the correct input and output presets. Then, of course, the web-based GUI. Accessible through any standard web browser, this interface gives integrators a clear, intuitive dashboard for setup and live control. So there's no special software here that's required. Together, these options make the DMP168 easy to deploy in both modern smart homes and more traditional AV environments. So let's move on to that web config interface and see it in action. When you first log into the DMP168's web GUI, and that's of course the graphical interface that you access through a browser, you'll see the main configuration options across the top of the page. These tabs let you move between inputs, outputs, routing, and other key settings. We'll start with the inputs tab, highlighted here in red. The DMP168 supports that 16 audio inputs I've mentioned, and each has its own dedicated DSP channel. So that'll let you fine-tune audio before it's distributed, so that every input can be optimized for the best possible sound quality and zone compatibility. On this page, you'll find tools such as custom source naming. So that's, of course, labeling each input with a friendly name like TV room or streaming box or CD player. So instead of guessing which input is which. Volume and balance controls so you can level match sources and adjust left-right balance. And of course, a limiter, which will set the maximum volume cap, protecting speakers and avoiding accidental blasts of audio. It's invisible to the end user, but keeps your system safe. Another neat feature you'll notice is the padlock icon. When engaged, it keeps the left and right channels of a stereo pair locked together. Unlock it, and you can treat each channel independently, effectively turning a stereo input into 2 mono inputs. For example, here on inputs 7 and 8, you'll see how those channels can be separated for unique use cases like paging or distributed mono audio. Altogether, the input page gives integrators precise control over how every source enters the system, making setup more intuitive and audio performance more consistent across zones. Shifting our focus to the outputs on the DMP168, you'll see that this processor provides 8 independent audio outputs, and just like the inputs, each output has its own dedicated DSP channel. And this is going to help you shape, protect, and fine-tune audio for each zone. In other words, you're not just routing sound, you're tailoring it for every area. So each output includes volume and mute control, high and low shelf filters plus high and low pass filters, a 4-band parametric EQ, delay settings, and of course a limiter control. Beyond the individual tuning, you also get smart grouping options. Up to 4 output groups can be created, each with its own master volume, plus a global all groups control. This makes it easy to adjust multiple rooms at once. And with mono summing, it'll take stereo content and combine it into a single channel, perfect for paging systems, single zone rooms, where of course stereo may not be practical. And one last detail, this is also where you'll find the lip sync delay adjustment available per output or channel. And that means you can ensure dialogue matches the video on screen zone by zone. The output page is where the DMP168 truly earns its reputation as a zone by zone control powerhouse, giving you both the fine detail of individual tuning and the efficiency of grouped control. Here on the DSP section, this is where a lot of the action comes into play. We're adjusting a lot of those inputs and output sounds, right? It helps us shape that audio, like I've mentioned. Each input and output has that DSP channel, means that you can adjust the audio independently. And the key tools here include a 4-band parametric EQ. It's a precision equalizer that lets you boost or cut very specific frequencies. So for example, you can tame a boomy bass note at 80 hertz without affecting the rest of the low end. The high pass and low pass filters, these act like gates, rolling over frequencies above or below a certain point, perfect for removing rumble or taming harsh highs. And then, of course, high and low shelf filters, which allow quick adjustments to raise or lower entire bands of treble or bass. We've got channel separation. So if needed, you can unlock a stereo pair and treat left and right channels individually. And this is going to be ideal for the paging zones, right? Or areas where mono is just required. The DSP presets allow you to save your EQ and filter settings once, then instantly apply them to multiple inputs or zones without having to start from scratch, right? So we're saving time here. Now, an important note, the DSP processing uses system resources, and you'll see a DSP utilization meter in the top right corner of the interface. You want to keep that below 90% for smooth, reliable performance. This section is where you move from just routing audio to actually sculpting the audio, ensuring every room sounds its best. And here we're taking a look at the bus feature of the DMP168. Think of a bus as a virtual mix path, a way to combine multiple sources and send them exactly where they need to go. The DMP168 includes 8 configurable buses, each with a flexible input assignment. So that's, of course, where we can mix any combination of sources like microphones, music players, independent level control. So each source can be balanced within the mix. Then we got priority override and ducking, which is going to be perfect for paging or emergency announcement that need to cut through background audio. Then custom naming, right? So integrators can clearly label mixes for different zones or events, right? Now, where is this most useful? Things like in paging systems where mic announcements need to hit multiple zones at once, and in event spaces where you might need different mixes depending on the setup. The bus architecture gives you the flexibility of an external mixer built right into the DMP168. It makes routing smarter, setups faster, and systems more scalable. Here we've got the preset tab, and the DMP168 includes 8 presets. So think of these as snapshots of your system. A preset saves the full config, inputs, outputs, volume levels, EQ, and more, so you can instantly return to that setup later. You can also fine-tune what gets saved by adjusting the permissions, which lets you exclude specific options if needed. Presets can be recalled in several ways. So with a simple button press in the web GUI, via a single command from a control system, or even through a contact closure or trigger, which is a physical switch that calls up a preset automatically. Presets let you switch configurations in seconds, perfect for venues with changing layouts, like dividing a ballroom into smaller rooms, or residential installs where different users want different audio settings. Presets make the DMP168 not just powerful, but also incredibly convenient and adaptable. The DMP168 also includes a user tab in the web interface. This allows you to create individual logins with unique credentials and assign specific access permissions. So why is this useful? Imagine a site owner or end user who needs to operate the system, but shouldn't be able to reconfigure it. With permissions, you can limit their access to just the control tab, keeping the advanced settings locked down. This not only protects the integrity of your setup, but also makes the system more approachable for everyday users, giving them just what they need and nothing that they can cause issues with. The control interface is where end users can actually drive the system without needing access to deeper configurations. So on this screen, zones are listed down the left side, while inputs run across the top, creating a simple switch matrix for routing audio. From here, you can switch inputs to outputs with just a click, select and control buses, adjust master volumes for inputs and outputs, fine-tune bus and group volumes with easy-to-use sliders, or recall presets instantly. The page itself is scrollable, so even though it's too long to show here in just a single shot, all essential controls are accessible in one place. In short, the interface gives everyday users everything they need to operate the matrix confidently, without the risk of them changing system configurations behind the scenes. So with its flexible configuration tools, the DMP168 can be deployed in just about any distributed audio project. Some of the most common applications include residential, where we've got multi-room homes with mixed music and media sources, houses of worship, where we need clear distribution of microphones, music, and live feeds, education in classrooms and lecture halls with paging and AV integration, or hospitality in hotels, restaurants, and event spaces needing background music, paging, and zone control. To bring this to life, let's walk through a real-world example, the settings for a hotel lobby. Here we'll see how announcements, music sources, and multiple zones can be managed seamlessly with a single DMP168. So let's imagine a hotel lobby with a restaurant, bar, back office, staff room, and a couple of meeting rooms. Now, here's the challenge. We need background music in the public areas. 2 microphones have to be integrated, one for general hotel announcements and one for the restaurant. The staff wants radio in the office and lunchroom, but they also need to hear announcements so they don't miss important messages. We also need hotel-wide announcements that have to play in both the restaurant and the bar. With the DMP168, this setup is simple. Microphones can be assigned priority, so announcements automatically duck the background audio, while different sources like radio or music can play in staff and public areas. This example shows how the DMP168 handles multi-zone, mixed-use environments, keeping guests entertained, staff informed, and operations seamless. So let's go ahead and set this up. First, on the output page, I took the step of naming each output after its audio area. So things like lobby, restaurant, or staff room. So why is this important? Instead of remembering which output number goes to which room, you and your client see plain descriptive labels. This keeps system navigation simple and eliminates guesswork during setup or day-to-day use. It's a small step that makes a big difference, especially in multi-zone environments where clarity is key. Then from there, the next step is to define our source names from the project brief. And in this system, we've got a mix of music sources and microphones. So again, same thing with the outputs. Rather than leaving them as generic input 1 or input 2, we give each source a clear descriptive name like streaming player, radio tuner, lobby mic, or restaurant mic, right? This is, again, a simple step to turn the DMP168 into a powerful audio matrix that is also a user-friendly tool, right? So whether it's being used in a home, a hotel, or a busy commercial space, right? Naming is important. After that, let's look at the bus configuration, a feature that works like creating virtual mixes inside the DMP168. Now, of course, the bus is a custom blend of sources that we can route then to one or more zones. So for this scenario, I set up 3 buses. We got a lobby bus for background music plus the hotel announcement mic, a cafe bus for streaming playlists with 2 microphones for staff use, and then an office bus, which is for the radio and back office and staff room, plus all microphones so no one misses any announcements. So once we've created these buses become selectable sources in the routing table, just like a single device input. That means integrators can design complex audio flows, while end users only see simple labeled sources like lobby mix or office bus. The result is a flexible but approachable audio setup that keeps staff informed, guests entertained, and the system operation intuitive. So also on the bus page here, we can configure ducking. Now, I think a lot of us know what ducking is, but I'm going to go ahead and explain it here anyhow. So ducking is when one audio source, typically a microphone, automatically lowers the volume of another source, like background music. This ensures that announcements are always clear and intelligible, even if music is playing loudly in that space. In the DMP168, you can choose which source acts as the ducking trigger. For example, a paging mic. And then set the sensitivity, so basically how strong and how quickly the music dips when someone speaks. In short, ducking keeps the system smart. Music runs smoothly in the background, but when staff needs to make an announcement, the system makes sure that the message is front and center. So now that the system is up and running, the final step is adding any DSP parameters, right? So essentially, it's an audio toolkit, right, built into the DMP168 where we can apply filters, equalization, and the limiters that we talked about earlier to help polish the sound after that system is live. So with these finishing touches, I've added a high-pass filter to remove low-end rumble from a microphone, a little EQ adjustment to brighten music in the cafe zone, and a limiter to keep volume peaks from damaging speakers. The beauty of the DMP168 is that these adjustments can be done per input or per output, so each source and zone sounds exactly as it should. The DSP tuning transforms a working system into a great sounding system that's customized for the environment that it's in. So now that we've got great sound, we're going to want to set up a couple of presets here. So the preset is that snapshot of your system at any given moment, right? And it's useful here because we want to picture a venue with multiple use cases, right? A meeting room that needs a microphone and projector during the day, or maybe the same space is used for background music in the evening, or for a residential client who wants different audio modes for movie night, casual listening, or party mode. So with these presets, we can switch between these scenarios in just a single click in the web interface, a command from a control system, or even a trigger from a wall switch, right? So this, of course, helps keep the DMP168 flexible, but also fast and user-friendly, right? And here, of course, we want to ensure that the complex system stays simple for the end users. And that's pretty much it. Once everything is configured, we can commence to day-to-day operations, right? And that can be entirely done from the control page. And from there, users can switch inputs directly to outputs. So for example, in this case, the second meeting room is taking background audio music, or we can select a bus, which is that pre-configured mix of multiple sources. Like the lobby cafe, right, is taking music from the lobby bus, the cafe from the cafe bus, right? And the staff room is also using the office bus, right? So what's powerful here is how intuitive it is, right? Instead of dealing with complex menus, end users see plain labels, click what they need, and the routing happens instantly. The takeaway? The DMP168 keeps configuration fast for integrators and operation easy for everyday users, making a complex audio matrix feel simple and approachable. And with that, it brings us to the end of today's overview of the Blustream DMP168 audio matrix. So I hope you'll join us again next week, where we'll dive into the DA1414 Dante audio matrix. So times and registration details are available on our website or in the same email that brought you here today. For more information about the DMP168 or any of our AV distribution products, visit our website or connect with your authorized Blustream distribution partner. They'll be happy to provide you guidance, recommendations, and project support. So finally, if you'd like to stay ahead of what's new, follow us on social media. That's where we share the latest product releases, feature updates, and upcoming events. And before we wrap up, just a quick reminder that our brand new 2025 Solutions brochure is available now on the Blustream website. You'll find it right on the homepage, or if you'd prefer, you can reach out directly to your local Blustream tech team, and they'll be happy to send it your way. And with that, we've reached the end of today's session. Now, let's take a look at some of the questions that have come in. And if you don't have any, that's perfectly fine. I just want to say thank you again for your time, your interest in Blustream, and your continued support. I hope to connect again with you soon. So whether that's on another webinar, on a project, or even in person at an event, thanks again, and let's go ahead and dive into that Q&A.